attacking media, threat to academia. Slacking, you defeated, brother. Track, I hack and eat it up. I'm heating up. Hot as my mama's stove on a Sunday. Except I'm...
NXT rules. NXT is just a fun show to watch because it still has an element of chaos to it. Like, it has all the scripts and stiff language of Raw and SmackDown with the medical facility and, you know, WWE Universe and all that crap. But at the same time, it has an element of anything can happen and everybody is so loud and in your face that it does remind me of older school WWF. It really does. And it really didn't hit me until the Tony D'Angelo promo we'll talk about later. But all of this stuff feels like, I don't want to say prime WWF. It doesn't. Because it's not that good. It's not like, you know, it's not as campy. Let's put it like that. But it doesn't feel like 1995 WWF. It feels like maybe 1990, 1991 WWF. Without the Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior. You know? And Randy Savage and Roddy Piper, you know, those levels of talent. But it seems to be populated with all of these characters and all these great gimmicks. And there's something for everybody. So when people are complaining about one guy, here comes somebody that they really like. And it's very interesting to watch people watch NXT because they're constantly being hit with different things. And some of it they're not going to like. Some of it they really like a lot. And that keeps them coming back. So it's very interesting. As opposed to what NXT was around this time last year, where it was purely matches. It was just match after match after match. And people were enjoying the matches. And people thought, you know, the storylines were okay. But there were very few characters. Very few people jumped off the screen. But now people are literally jumping off the screen on NXT. And that's fun. So let's start the show with somebody who is finding themselves in terms of the new NXT, and that's Carmelo Hayes. So Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams are in the ring. Carmelo Hayes is celebrating his success, his swerve of swerve. And what I really like is Trick Williams when he says, if you're looking for humble, find it in the dictionary right after hell no, which is fun, you know. And Carmelo Hayes cuts a promo and basically starts talking about how he walked around like Mello in the chocolate factory with the golden ticket. And now he's the North American champion. And this is the A championship. And he says, I don't care what the office thinks. I don't care what Tommaso Ciampa thinks. This is the A title. And I said what I said. You know, like he's standing on it. This is the A championship. I'm starting the show. Taking ownership of the show. Okay, cool. You know. And it actually justifies his position. Some people would say, why would you cash in to win a mid-card title? Where he's like, you know, it ain't about the title, it's about me. You know, this is the A championship now because I have it. And this leads to Johnny Gargano coming out there. So Johnny Gargano breaks it down. You know, Austin Theory is gone. Indy Hartwell is enjoying married life and chasing tag team championships. And his wife is pregnant. He's lost his way. Double entendre. He lost the way, which is the name of the faction, and it's also meaningful, like it's his path, his direction. But he says he sees the new way right in front of him, and that is to become the North American champion. He knows a little bit about that title. Trick Williams then said that, you know, you need to check your daughter because she been in Melo's DMs all week. And Johnny Gargano had a weird reaction to that, where there was almost like just an excitement to it. And he was like, that's your daughter. He's like, that's your daughter. And he was like, oh yeah, that's my son-in-law. And then here comes Dexter Lumis. And they, you know, beat up on Melo and Trick a little bit. And they flee, leaving behind Melo's North American title. They left it in the ring. Melo then pushes Trick towards the ring in order to get his belt, but Trick is like, no, not getting in the ring. Not at all, not going to do that. Because Dexter Lumis is in the ring, and he's weird. So we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Later in the show, though, is something that is really funny. So Carmelo Hayes is looking for his championship that was taken by Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis. And it's, for some reason, they're in the locker room. and they start opening in random lockers, only to find Jiro's jackets in the lockers. It's like just random Jiro jackets in the lockers. And they're like, how many jackets does he have? And they're slamming jackets down. And all of a sudden they find an invitation. And it's an invitation to Dexter Lumis's haunted house. And he has to come retrieve the North American title from Dexter Lumis's haunted house next week. It is absolutely ridiculous. It is, honestly, I'm glad they're doing this. As silly as it is, because I know it's going to be zombies. It's going to be weird. But it might be fun. It's definitely going to be different. It's going to have Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams going through a haunted house. And Johnny Gargano is going to be involved. So it's going to be some silly vignettes. And that's the thing that I'm talking about. Like, part of this is going to be jump off the screen nuts. Dexter Lumis is really good at his character and at his gimmick. This is going to be doing this in lieu of adding another match. To me, is fun. You know, it would be simple for you to just add another match where you have to, you know, it's a tag team match or something like that. You know, it's like, yeah, okay, but this is different. You know, because everybody's going to be like, oh, wait a minute. Last year, they had Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes in a haunted house. And as silly and as stupid as it was great. You know, with Cameron Grimes being scared of the zombies and everything, it was wicked. Are they going to do the same thing this time? What new wrinkles are they going to put in there? How is Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes going to sell being afraid in this haunted house? And the ultimate goal, this time there's an actual goal to this whole thing, is that they're going to get the North American title. So that means they can't leave without it, you know, which they probably will. I would rather they do this and have another match, if we being honest. You know, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with them doing this. This is going to be fun. It's going to be silly. It's going to be over the top. But that's the kind of stuff that's kind of stuff I grew up on. I grew up with over the top Mantar, Bastion Booger. We don't need anything that bad. But the Mountie, the Berserker tried to stab Undertaker with a sword in the ring one time. It's like, okay, we can turn down some of the magic and all that shit. We can turn all that down. But occasionally, and I think if we're going to do it, Halloween Havoc is the perfect time to do it. To go out there and do some zombies and that kind of stuff. If you're going to do it, Halloween Havoc is the time to do it. It's the only event where I'll turn a blind eye to zombies and other horse shit. Okay. So the next thing, Odyssey Jones defeated Andre Chase with a running splash. This match was actually pretty short and sweet, and I didn't mind it. But I noticed that there was people in the crowd wearing Chase U sweaters. I think they said that was the Chase U section. What do they call it? The alumni section. It was really weird. It really didn't amount to anything. Malcolm Bivens cut a promo saying that Imperium is trying to jump the line. The Creed brothers really did earn that number one contender shot for the tag team titles, and you know they're going to force Imperium to go through them in order to get that match. Imperium, or Bivens rather, says that we learning if you want something, you got to go out there and take it. So we're going to go take it. This leads to the heel versus heel match of the Creed brothers versus Imperium, and this match was really good. The Creed brothers, look, I'm a fan of Imperium. I really am. I like them when, Meltzer and all these guys are talking about Marcel Bartel. I mean, who is that guy? Nobody knows who that guy is. And it's like, it's very strange that, somebody who claims that, they know all about wrestling couldn't see the talent in Marcel Bartel. Like, I'm not saying that the guy's going to be anything major in the business. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is he has a look that fits his gimmick. And he has an actual gimmick and a character. And he can actually work. And in this match, you actually got to see him do all of the above, except talk. He didn't get to talk. But the Creed brothers are grapplers. And they're meat grinders. But we got to see if that Bartel could escape them. Eichner is just as strong, but Martel is slippery. You know, they can get their hands on him, but he might be able to get away from them. He's a little bit faster than they are. He's a lot more experienced than they are. And Imperium actually started to get over as heels, as baby faces in this match. Because the Creed brothers are heels. So they actually started working babyface. And when Fabian Eichner came in, they started getting some really good pops. You know, it was fun watching Imperium, and they win, which is really strange because Jiro and Kushida came down to ringside. They started fighting the remaining members of Diamond Mine, which is Hachiman and Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong was cheating all the while anyway. So it was a distraction roll up for the Creeds. So the Creeds lose their first match and they lose to Imperium. And I'm not thrilled about the Creed brothers losing so early, considering it's only been like their fourth or fifth match. They really should have continued winning. But Imperium is a team that's been waiting for a long time. They've been waiting for that spot for a long time. And I'm on the fence. Like, I personally wouldn't have beat the Creeds. I personally wouldn't have done that, but it's not going to kill them. I think they're good enough that they can bounce back from losing and be forced to start all over again. That's fine with me. They proved something in this match. They really was in there hanging with Imperium. So they didn't lose anything in losing this match. They didn't even get beat flat. Part of it was the chaos outside the ring. So they gave them a bit of an out. I'm cool with it. I'll take it in stride because I do like Imperium, but I also like the Creeds. If Imperium wins the tag team titles, all is forgiven. If MSK wins, flip the tables, okay? Speaking of MSK, they attack Imperium from behind and get soundly booed out of the building. And people are chanting that MSK sucks. And they mean it. This is the second or the third time they've done this. But interesting enough, MSK attacks Imperium from behind. It seems like they might actually be leaning into this MSK heel turn. Why else would you have the most babyface of babyface guys attack Imperium from behind if you weren't leaning into them being heels? I say go for it. Go for it. But first, let Imperium go over and win the titles. And then we turn MSK heel maybe after the match. And let this program run a little bit. But we got to get rid of MSK. Then they suck. They suck so bad. And it's embarrassing. It's like really embarrassing. They suck so bad. All right. So Jiro and Kushida came out to fight off the Diamond Mine. Afterwards, Kushida is at the urinal. And here comes Jiro behind him, surprising him as he was pissing. And Kushida, of course, had to sell that Jiro shocked him from behind. Then they started talking in broken English where Kushida said he wanted to style strong like Jiro. If they're going to be partners, if they're going to be friends, they're going to fight Diamond Mine. He wants to style strong like Jiro. And Jiro said, no. You are Kushida. It is time. And he unzips Kushida's backpack and dumps all his clothes on the NXT bathroom floor. Like, all of this was absolutely ridiculous. All of this was ridiculous. Why are they in the urinal? Why is that happening? It's so over the top. It's so cartoonish. Jiro is like really loud. I don't mean like verbally he's loud. I mean his character is loud. He's really big, character-wise. He's very animated. And Kushida is trying to keep up that energy. And then he gives Kushida the vest and the glasses and tells him it's time to go back to the future. And then the blue light starts. And I'm like, where did the blue light come from in the bathroom? Like, who was in the bathroom with them and decided to do the blue lights? Who did this? It is so cartoonish. It is. I was dying, bro. Look at this shit. Why would you do this? It was great though, because, well, it was great for different reasons. Was it a well-written scene? No. Kushida was supposed to be peeing when Jiro popped up, but there was no pee. His pants were not down, and they didn't wash their hands. So nothing. As somebody who works in the hospital, that was triggering to me. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. I was just floored by how ridiculous that whole thing in the bathroom was, man. And I was like, these guys just became best friends at the urinal. What the fuck? Japan is a weird place. And NXT is going there. I'm like, okay. It doesn't seem like there's just two random Japanese guys being partners either. So it's ought to be fun. I want to see where it's going. Let's see where it goes. Maybe Kushida would end up getting freaked out by Jiro, by him making some crazy pineapple jackets or pineapple vest or something like that. And they can have fun with it. Because Kushida needs something, And if they're going to do the little buddy system with Jiro and Kushida, that ought to be fine. Let's just do that. I don't mind. All right, speaking of little buddy system, Kyle O'Reilly is going into the woods with Von Wagner. And for some reason, they're lifting logs and hiking. And they're doing outdoorsman stuff. Doing chin-ups on tree branches. I'm like, wait a minute. They're like 1 second away from Von Wagner pulling out the AR-15s and shooting at glass jars and rolling around in the grass. And, wearing patches and talking about kidnapping Governor Whitmer. They're just like 1 step away from it as they're out here in the woods in the middle of nowhere. Now, I know Kyle O'Reilly is Canadian, so maybe that's where we're going with this, is that they're Canadian outdoorsmen. But Kyle O'Reilly is like MMA guy, like he trains in the MMA gym and all that kind of stuff. Maybe that's where we're going next. But the two of them shared a beer, and Kyle O'Reilly was like, you know what? All that stuff I said about not really trusting anybody, never mind. I think we can make a go of this tag team thing, you and me. What do you say, bud? And Von Wagner is like, let's kick some ass. And I'm telling you, man, he just reminds me of the Thing from Fantastic Four. Just look at his face. He's got his skull is just so weird. I'm never going to get used to looking at Von Wagner. He needs to wear a mask. No, legit. He reminds me a lot of Kane, Glenn Jacobs. He needs to wear a mask. I think if you put a mask on Von Wagner, a cool mask, with the hair and everything, give him a cool gimmick, I think it could work. I don't know about him just being a regular guy who likes the outdoors. I don't think people would like the Joshua Dukes look from Von Wagner, or him being Mick Foley with plaid shirts on. I don't think that's going to work. Not in today's world, it ain't. That ain't going to work at all. Not today. Speaking of today's world, our boy Joe Gacy remains uncanceled and remains a thorn in the side of the blue check marks, especially the Fightful account. Whoever runs that Fightful account, they are emotionally invested in not liking Joe Gacy. So Joe Gacy remains the voice of this generation. He says that he may have lost his opportunity to be the champion, but the mission remains the same. They're going to be stronger together. He didn't put it in those words, but stronger together was the Hillary Clinton campaign slogan. And they kind of avoided saying stronger together, but he said stronger together. He also used the term triggered and microaggression in this promo. And then he says, follow me. And he put his hands like on the glass. And then we see Harland, aka Parker Boudreaux, who looks like Sling Blade. And he says, my little snowflake. My little snowflake. He's building a cult. I told y'all Joe Gacy was rules, man. Joe Gacy is dope. And he is. And yes, I saw somebody on Twitter say, oh, they're just trying to redo Bray Wyatt with Joe Gacy. Maybe. But, Bray Wyatt was just, he's admitted that he was doing Waylon Mercy. So we're going to do something a little bit similar where he's going to come up with a PC cult. A woke cult. I love it. So what makes me like Joe Gacy so much, not only is because I know his background and I know this is all a sham and it's all just bullshit until he gets enough power to abuse people, which is what the woke cult does, you know. And that's really what I think bothers people, is it's bringing up a mirror. It's not being, it's cartoonish in a way. It's not legit in so much as he's saying exactly the same things that these people would say. They have tweaked the character a little bit so that he's not hitting so hard in that, hitting those people so hard. But he is making a statement that the woke cult is a real thing. And we see that it is, you know? And I think that's what so many people don't like about it, because that mirror is being shined on you. You don't like that light. You don't like that light on you. You want that light off. You know, Joe Gacy he's an extreme version of what these guys are talking about. You know, he's obviously a straw man, but it's still fun. He's building a cult, and Parker Boudreaux, aka Harland, is going to be his first follower. I'm okay with that. And eventually we're going to get to the point where Joe Gacy's going to be a screaming madman and wanting to murder people. I can't wait. But slow build it. All right, Santos Escobar. Santos Escobar is in the ring. He's very mad. He was pretty mad about this whole Carmelo Hayes North American title thing, and says that he was a lucky son of a bitch, but his luck is going to vanish when he gets hold of him. But you know, that's later. Now, though, Elektra Lopez has something to say. So Elektra Lopez is about to talk, and she's interrupted by Cora Jade. Cora Jade comes out there on her skateboards around. Then she has a match with Elektra Lopez, which she wins. And I was just like, Elektra Lopez, literally, we were building her. We were doing something here. What are you doing? Why would you, I get it, her shoulder was down and she kicked out, to be quite honest. But the referee counted 3 anyway. Her shoulder wasn't even down and she kicked out. But Cora Jade won the match. Silly fashion, bad decision. I didn't like that Elektra Lopez lost. It was goofy, especially to somebody like Cora Jade. But then they went and made it up by having Legado del Fantasma beat the absolute tar out of, I'm guessing that was Trey Baxter they stomped out, because that's been her boyfriend this whole time. So they stomped out Trey Baxter. This led to Brooks, Jensen and Josh Briggs making the save. And Legado del Fantasma started this whole brawl in the backstage area. There was a tag team match where Briggs and Jensen was supposed to come out there and fight Legado del Fantasma, and they got attacked from behind by Legado del Fantasma, which led to my favorite part of NXT, which is Santos Escobar pretending to play air guitar to the Brooks and Jensen theme song, which is suddenly one of my favorite parts of the show. And that's when I realized, like, this show is off the rails, and it's like what I said about Raw. Like, Raw needs to be about 30% chaos. I think NXT is probably a little bit over 30%. They're probably like 35 or 36% chaos. It's going to be further next week. But it's like constantly stuff happening on NXT. And a lot of this stuff is interlinked, you know. Like Legado del Fantasma, talking about Hit Row being gone, Carmelo Hayes being the champion. And now they're immediately wrapped up in this thing with Cora Jade, because now Elektra Lopez has a new feud. And then that brings in the Trey Baxter, Cora Jade relationship thing that they've been doing. And it also brought in some other guys in Jensen and Briggs. So we got something in one episode, different layers of the story that it can spin out of in future weeks to tell what was going on. So they end up having the match. Briggs and Jensen versus Legado del Fantasma. And Legado del Fantasma win the match. Match was alright. I'm still warming up to Jensen and Briggs. I'm just very used to Josh Briggs being his evolved self. and not really used to him being, basically Jay Bradley now. Not a fan of that. So Ciampa and Braun Breaker, they cut a promo. The long and the short of it is, Braun Breaker has said that, oh yeah, we're gonna do this whole can we coexist thing, and I know it's gonna be some stuff where you chop me and say it was an accident or something like that, but let's just get through this. And Ciampa is just kind of like, whatever you say, champ. You said you had my back, and here I am. Protect me. So then the match takes place in the main event of the show: Tommaso Ciampa and Braun Breaker versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. And Braun Breaker absolutely destroys James Drake to win the match. Not a fan of them doing the Grizzled Young Veterans like this. I don't understand what they were brought from NXT UK for. Like, I know they had a pretty decent run as the tag team champions, but they should have been the tag team champions here as well. What were they brought to the United States for if they're just going to be used as cannon fodder for anybody who forms a tag team within the next 2 weeks? That was legitimately, I knew they were going to lose, of course, but it seems silly to me that that's what we're using these guys for. It's just dumb. Like, you could have had the same result and splitting this up into 2 one-on-one matches by having, Braun wrestle James Drake and Zach Gibson wrestle Tommaso Ciampa, and that way the tag team doesn't lose. And since they're tag team specialists, it doesn't really hurt them that much to lose singles matches. That's what I would have done. And there's certainly some stuff you could have cut out of this show. The Cora Jade Electra Lopez, even though ended up being important for the storyline, there was some other stuff you could have cut out of here. Andre Chase and Odyssey Jones, which apparently is not going to get any follow up because there was no follow up. Maybe it'll be some follow up next week. But there are some matches you could have cut off this show if you were going to do that. It just seems silly to me to have a team like the Grizzly Young Veterans lose like this. But the match was really good. It made me want to see Tommaso Ciampa wrestle these guys one-on-one. I'm such a big fan of Grizzly Young Veterans. It's really disturbing to see them lose. But Tommaso Ciampa continues to clutch the title in obsessive ways, and Braun Breaker continues to watch him from the distance. I'm telling you, Ciampa is turning heel to win that match next week. It is going to happen. He is not going to let himself lose that title. He is going to hit him in the nuts, or hit him with, he's going to have something packed in his tights or something. It's going to get real. And I can't wait, because this has been a long time coming. All right, triple threat match. The winner spins the wheel. Io Shirai versus JC Jane versus Portia Parada. This is the match where JC Jane, who I have finally realized is Avery Taylor. I knew her name was something from Evolve. I found out in the most dubious of ways because she almost broke her goddamn neck doing a tope suicida in this match. Ban that move. The tope suicida fucking sucks. Her legs got caught in the ropes and she fell on her face. And they had to wrestle the rest of the match, Io Shirai versus Portia Parada, because JC Jane almost died. And you know what? She'll probably be okay. She walked away, so she's probably all right. Maybe she'll have a concussion. She won't be able to wrestle next week, which would suck. But it was dangerous. It looked bad. Everybody noticed it. Hopefully, it wasn't a planned spot, but the match from when JC Jane got injured and taken out actually got really good. Portia Parada is not bad. Io Shirai is Io Shirai. So I really enjoyed this match from, the knowing that it's impromptu, considering JC Jane is supposed to be there. But I think the winner was the winner anyway. I think Io Shirai was going to win regardless. And she spins the wheel and we get a ladder match. It seems silly to me that we're going to have a match to see who spins the wheel for the match that we're going to have. I mean, that's a criticism worth making, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to acknowledge that it was silly to have a match that featured the same people and not just do a coin toss or something like that, which could have given us the same result. This is one of the matches that we could have cut out for something else. But Persia Parada versus Io Shirai was still pretty good. And the concept of having that ladder match sounds a lot of fun too. Hopefully nobody dies in that ladder match. All right, so Tony D'Angelo, he makes his appearance. He wrestles some guy who is apparently a member of the Foot Clan. Thought he was in a Tekken tournament or something like that. He's standing there like, I'm like, what is this guy? Who is this guy? Anyway, Tony D'Angelo completely destroys the guy. Wins the match. Everybody loves Tony. He's great. He's fantastic. He jumps off the screen. Great personality. He's asked about the missing producer from Lashing Out, and he basically says, hey, you think I'm some kind of snitch? Like I have no idea. I swear on my grandpa Jr. that I don't have anything to do with this. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about it. Then he slides Samantha some cash in her hand in front of the world and tells her to buy herself something nice and then to forget about it. I'm like, what? You just can't buy people off in front of the world. Bribes don't work that way, man. It's supposed to be secret. This would have been a perfect time to introduce a reporter type of character like they have in MLW, where she's going to investigate the missing Marcus or whatever, and do it in a complete over-the-top way where she's like Sherlock Holmes with a pipe and everything, or like Matlock or Columbo or something. And then we bring that in with the Tony D'Angelo. I mean, we're going to go there, man. Let's just go there, right? But Tony continues to get great reactions and continues to be everybody's favorite character on the show. I have yet to meet anybody or see anybody who watched the show who does not love Tony D'Angelo. Like him and Braun Breaker seem to be overwhelmingly the two characters that every single person who watches this show likes. I have yet to see anybody hear anybody say anything bad about Braun, except for his name. And I have yet to see anybody talking bad about Tony D'Angelo. It's been all love. And that's good. I've been thoroughly enjoying Tony D'Angelo and his antics. It's all very good. Duke Hudson has a poker room. So Swingers Palace is dead in Impact Wrestling, but apparently we're going to have our own version of Swingers Palace with Duke's poker room, where we're going to be reading his mind, apparently, as he breaks down somebody's hand and calls their bluff, whether it's in the ring or at the poker table. Duke Hudson always wins, and he plays poker without a shirt on, so that means he's exceptionally good at poker. I don't mind this. Hearing his thoughts is very comic bookish. Like every time I've ever heard somebody's thoughts in a wrestling show, when it's Jeff Hardy self-narrating what's going on TNA, that weird time where they had Shelton Benjamin's thoughts playing on Raw. What was that? Was that Raw when we were doing Shelton Benjamin's thoughts? Like I don't know. I don't understand either one of those things. When Jeff was narrating, when Shelton Benjamin was doing his thoughts on Raw, and now we're reading Duke Hudson's thoughts. So is this I don't know if this is a talk show, which it doesn't seem like it is, or whether it's going to be a game show where different people every week is going to come in there and challenge him to a poker game. Either way it goes, it has the potential to be silly, over the top fun, and I'm always for it. I just want to see where it goes. I'm glad to see no Lashing Out this week. I didn't need that shit. All right, we also got Raquel Gonzalez and Mandy Rose, a video package for their big match for the women's title. And I love this thing. I thought this thing was pretty good. I thought really what it was successful was in showing Mandy Rose's transformation. Like, we got Raquel Gonzalez clanging and banging in the gym. She doing what she does. From Raquel Gonzalez's potential, from her side rather, she likes being the champion because she never knows who's going to step up next. But here comes Mandy Rose. And then Raquel Gonzalez says while you were out, getting pretty, I was in the gym. I was hitting the weights. And then she says that she's going to show that Mandy Rose is not championship material. But Mandy Rose, on the other hand, had a pretty deep reason for, not just going after the title, but almost a important message that she's trying to send. That, she's been in WWE for several years, and they said that she was hot, that she was sexy, that she was eye candy, and that she's been stepped over, time and time again, looked over, never given opportunities, never given a shot. And said that it wasn't until she joined Toxic Attraction that she learned what she really has to do. And she says, I'm going to do everything that you do, but look better doing it. And then says that, they've called her hot, sexy, and all that stuff, but now they're going to call her the champion. And I was like, okay, because you look at it, and it is Mandy Rose, still somewhat, she's vain. Vain characters still have that desire for validation, because that's something that people who are pretty or good looking, they're constantly fishing for compliments. And she's gotten all the physical compliments that a person can get, which is why she used synonyms. Like I saw somebody, saying like, oh, she has such a limited vocabulary. I'm like, what? That's not the point. The point is they're saying every compliment she's ever gotten has been about her looks. That was the point. But now they say she's going to have to be the champion. They showed her in the gym working out and doing all the stuff that Raquel Gonzalez does. But they also showed her like in a bikini and stuff like that too. Kind of showing that there's multiple sides to her character, that she can be strong and sexy at the same time. That she can be talented at the same time as being pretty. And that she's going to be able to do that. And you can look at all these characters. There's a long laundry list of them. From, the sort of vain style character, and they're always looking for external validation. And that's what Mandy Rose is looking for in this whole thing with Raquel Gonzalez and this whole move back to NXT to a degree, is that she wasn't really appreciated. She was basically just eye candy on Raw and SmackDown. But since moving to NXT, they have utilized her voice a lot more. They have utilized her in the ring a lot more. She didn't really get a lot of time on the main roster for really good reasons. She wasn't really all that good. But she did kind of find her stride during the thing with Sonya Deville. They were doing something that was really good, I think, between the two of them. Both of them were doing good stuff. And then the whole shit happened with Sonya being stalked, and it ruined the match that they were going to have. Because, they were in the house together when it happened. So it took all the steam out of that. And then she was thrown in that tag team with Dana Brooke, who is absolutely awful. But it had potential, but they still weren't really using them. Then she comes to NXT, and they didn't immediately start using her in the ring, but they immediately started using her in different ways. And presenting her as being different, not just sexy muscle friends or whatever the hell she was doing on Raw and SmackDown. So looking for external validation, looking for something that proves that all of her hard work, that she can be more than just a pretty face. It makes sense for this character. It makes sense for this personality. And to me, quite honest, she needs to win. Not anything to do with Raquel Gonzalez. Sure, I think Raquel Gonzalez is going to be a big star on the main roster. She is a tall, muscular woman, which is what WWE wants from their main event women. She's tall, but she's also very green. Of the tall, muscular women who are going to be on that roster, she'll probably be the most green. But she also has an advantage in being Hispanic. So, it's a double-edged sword. Rhea Ripley is having a hard time fitting in. Bianca Belair took some time, but she's got there. I think Raquel Gonzalez would probably fall somewhere in between the two, where in the matches she can be pretty good, but she's going to need some lead. She's going to need to be led a little bit. Rhea Ripley was very good in the ring. She just didn't have a distinct personality, and now they're putting her with Nikki Cross to try to build that distinct personality. Raquel Gonzalez, I believe, has a personality, but not as much of a personality, which is why so many people have been clamoring for her to be put with Zelina Vega. But I think that if she was to be moved to the main roster, she would fall somewhere in between Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, where she's big enough that they'll probably put her over a lot, but she'll probably be standing behind somebody for a little while too, while they got her together in the ring. But I definitely think her time in NXT is coming up. But I really can't believe I'm actually going to say you need to put over Mandy Rose. She needs to win. It is what it is. You know, they need to kind of start moving some people around NXT too, especially some of the people who've been there for a long time. All right, the last thing is LA Knight won a match to be the host of NXT Halloween Havoc, which I don't think we really needed that match because I don't think we really need a host. But the match happened. LA Knight wins. It was all right. Good to see LA Knight back in the win catalog. And everything's going to be great. Of course, this host thing would be better with a certain screaming, skin-tight leather Shotzi Blackheart, which, you know, somebody posted a picture, a collage of all of her costumes from last year, and she was pretty hot. She was pretty damn hot. But, you know, it's a different world. It's a different year. Shotzi is now on SmackDown. Is she even on SmackDown? I mean, how many SmackDown appearances have she made? Like 5? So it's unfortunate, but you know, we'll get. I guess we'll figure it out one day. But I'm pretty sure LA Knight's gonna have some fun being the host. He's probably gonna call everybody names, make fun of them, make fun of the matches, make fun of the crowd. It ought to be really fun. But he needs to get the hell out of NXT. You know, him, Taya, Raquel. We probably need to start moving them along. I know I've been saying that a lot, but it's time to move it along, Jack. You know, it just is. But NXT is fun. You know, a lot of the characters jump off the screen. They're very over the top. They're very in your face. It's the kind of stuff that, you know, I find fun about wrestling. It still has a sort of chaotic atmosphere to it. It's still scripted, of course. It still has the very high production values of WWE, but it has a lot of an older school feel to it, and it actually does feel a lot like some amalgamation of older developmental programs with older WWF and a modern statement. It feels very fresh, and I'm still enjoying NXT 2.0, and it ought to be fun watching Halloween Havoc next week. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.